Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are looking at Leatherneck and Major Blood. I've got a small little collection of these, so we may have to kind of go through and get a couple extras done. It's not that I've stopped collecting any of these, it's just that I don't seem to get very many of them, so I really have not been doing all that many here lately. Trying to hit some of the other things that it kind of goes in streaks, right? And I think we're about to get a visitor here, where I'll kind of do a little bit of G.I. Joe or Star Wars, and then we'll get into more mock builds and stuff like that. I do want to say that, with everything else going on this week, it's been kind of chaotic-wise, and I think I've spent a little extra time listening to the news and the other things. So, just kind of some messed up things, not just here in the States, but worldwide too. So just I try to stay out of the politics on here. Let's just have some fun and just kind of get into this here. So we do have Major Blood and Leatherneck. Now, this is the second one that we've had this is the first one, I think, for Major Blood. I was thinking of Dr. Mindbender, where that was like a deluxe one. I never got that one, but it had some of the other stuff for trying to make Serpentor and everything else. So let's start off with Major Blood. Let's get our bad guy here of the week as we kind of go through. All right. So getting him out of the package, and we have that nice, window display so you can see what you're getting, and we have the Cobra background there, which works out fairly well. So looking at what we have here, we do have Major Blood himself with an armor scheme on him. He's got his helmet, looks like a backpack. Of course, he's got an amulet kind of necklace. He's got a big honking revolver, a nice semi-automatic pistol of some sort, and we have two darts, or I don't know if you want to call them darts, for darts, bolts, whatever. Kind of depends on how they're being shot out. It almost looks like my mind says it's like a Python, kind of like a 50 cal revolver. That is a big bore from the looks of it. And it looks like his standard Cobra style pistol here. And the funny thing is I noticed on the back here, it does have the accessory hole. So I'm thinking that if I put this in here correctly, is how that's supposed to go. So he could actually shoot this out, have it as a grenade or some sort of other. With Major Blood, I would say more of a explosive, or possibly even, because they'll do it in the in the show, maybe a netting or something like that, so you can capture someone. Maybe trying to get Sergeant Slaughter again, so that way they can get some of his DNA. Of course, we have his backpack, his helmet, and then all the crinkles trying to get him out. All right. So, looking at the nice sneer on his face, he's got his eye patch there, and he's always classically kind of had his hair done up this way. I'm sure that he himself would have a reason for it, for a military style of some sort, but it is his very iconic look on the face, and I think they've done that well. Thinking about it in the cartoon sense, I don't remember him having this type of armor, but there again, I'm trying to think the last time I watched it. It's been a little bit of time, not that long in years, because I know I watched it within like the last year, but just trying to think of Major Blood himself and thinking about what he was actually wearing in comparison to actually looking at him here. All right, so as usual, we kind of start off, and he's got a standard foot ankle here, and it goes all the way back to that degree, giving him a little bit of flexibility. We have the boot, so I'm sure that we have our twist here as that gets matted up with the rest of the leg. Indy comes to join us, and she says, "Hi, don't you there, kitten." All right. Yes, we want to see your face in the camera, though. I'm just being honest. We love you, kitten. It's just that some aspects we like a little bit more shown on the camera than others. All right. So trying to get... We're going to put him on top of her. No. We're going to make you a mounted animal. Here. Aha. No? Okay. So, then we have the double knee here. Now that we've teased her away and she's trying to get into a box. So we do have the double knee, so we can kind of stretch that knee out. This knee action on mine seems to be working very nicely. And typically we have our joint right up here, which it does have. Sometimes that double knee can be very stiff. So not saying that there's a problem, because when you get a brand new toy, usually you figure that some of that stuff is going to be a little stiffer than others. All right, now normally we can do a torso twist. There is that movement here, and it does seem to want to do that. And we have our joint here, but he does have his armor, so that's going to keep us from doing too many crunches, but it's kind of protecting his stomach there. So getting onto here, it looks like we do have a double shoulder. Hopefully you guys can see that. To what degree can we move it? We have a little bit more movement in the front than I think we do in the back, because of the armor, again, kind of coming around. His protective vest is kind of preventing us from sneaking it around. So if he's trying to throw a grenade, he's going to have a little bit of a difficulty there, and going from that point on. All right, and trying to see if we do have a double elbow here, which sometimes we do, sometimes we do not, and I do not see... No, he does. He does have a little bit of a double elbow, so this does move a little bit in here, so we have that, and of course we have our standard arm joint. So, you know, I want to say, I think Major Blood way back when was smoking cigars. Now, for a kid's show, I don't think that they can show that, but I want to say I remember him smoking cigars in one of them. Maybe I'm wrong. And I'm going to say this. Something's happened to Major Blood, because this looks like an artificial arm. So he has a robotic arm on his right hand. So just wanting to keep that in there, that I don't remember him having a robotic arm for his right arm. That's kind of, you know, I don't know if this is coming from the IDW or anything else. Just one of those things I don't remember. So that might explain his armor here. That might also have some power in there for his arm, because that is a full robotic looking arm, including the joint here having the kind of mechanisms there. And it looks nice. The question is, do we have a double elbow on this one? Yes, we do. So we do have a double elbow on his robotic arm. Kind of nice. Now, I got these off of Amazon because, unfortunately, I can rarely find the G.I. Joe in my area. Oddly enough, now I did go a little bit farther out of town yesterday. The wife wanted to go shopping, so we went a little farther than just the next town over. And I stopped at my local Walmart, or the Walmart there, right next to the store that she wanted to stop in. And they did have some Joes in like a center, like a kiosk style stand or something like that, as well as some other toys, which was kind of fun to see. Not ones that I typically get a chance at seeing or whatever, so it was kind of nice. So maybe your own local Walmart, if you have a regular Walmart, not like a hometown one or whatever that I have here locally, you can see some of that stuff, and maybe you can score some figures there. Do watch the price, because I will say I picked up some Star Wars droids that were marked down to about 13, but they weren't actually marked down. I don't know what ones they did, but it obviously wasn't the one I picked up. So I figured, hey, I can always collect to the Army if I get the chance for some $13 figures compared to $25. So just kind of going from there. Trying to line this up here real quick to get his backpack on. That's probably got his extended power pack. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Trying to mash this all up. I got it going through the armor, but it's just not lined up correctly for the rest of the hole in his back for his backpack here. So I guess I'll leave this off. We do have a spot here for putting something. Now, I don't know what I'm supposed to put on there. I don't see anything else on our figure base as I nudge the camera a little bit. So I don't know what I'm supposed to fit on there unless maybe does that fits there. Okay, so now his pistol fits on there. So technically you could put his second pistol here where his original revolver, that is a big honkin' revolver, that is a nice piece of steel, can sit in here. Boy, that doesn't really want to fit in there either. It has to at some point. Unless he's grabbing it the other way. No. Most guys, they're not cross-drawing into that holster. Okay, now we got her. Just wants to fit in a certain way. Alright, so we have all that. I just don't know where I'm putting these, though. I will say there's a little notch here. I don't know if something's supposed to fit in there or something or what. I'm just a little confused as to where I put these. Have his arm out there. That doesn't fit. That's obviously not going to fit. Yeah, I don't know where I'm supposed to store these. Maybe I'm missing something on this. Oh, I am. Because these fit up on here like this. That's why it's notched the way it is. Alright. Is it going this way maybe? I think that's the way it goes. Okay. So that's a weapon system all of its own. And they're facing up. So that's all stored in the backpack. There we go. So hopefully you guys are seeing that pretty good. I think I got this pretty well centered here. All right. So we have all that. And again, I'm using my phone because I still have Lego pieces all over the pool table to try and do that. And I think I'm having more problems with my my laptop. So I think she's starting to die. You guys have been hearing my voice being a little distorted when we first start some of these. I think it's the laptop that's having an issue with everything. The camera's starting to glitch out a little bit. That seems like it's got to be a laptop issue compared to everything else just dying on me all of a sudden. So something tells me I'm going to have to invest in new equipment here. All right, then we get Leatherneck. Now, Leatherneck being just... Oh, goodness. What is he, like a master sergeant? Or no, he'd be a gunning sergeant of some sort, I think. Because he's a Marine. And I want to give him an Army rank for Marine Corps soldier. And the way he was written in the cartoon is very... And it's iconic for the time. Very much that of someone of the Vietnam era. Because I know that they had a... Oh, look at that. The M16 collapsible buttstock. He's got a magazine pouch on the back here. The M203 underneath here does not slide or anything. Kind of nice. He's got what looks like... This might be the Beretta. I think they were using a Beretta at the time. Or maybe something newer, because he does have the red dot on here. That's a newer kind of setup for his age and everything else. But there again, we're looking, you know, they never really age out. I mean, that's just the funny thing. We think about these guys being around for how long, and well, they're still here. They're still part of the team. They don't age out. That's the nice thing about cartoons. They don't have to worry about the actual actor themselves getting too old for a part. And then he's got a classic rucksack with his shelter half on top. For his rank, he's probably got a double one, because he would have a shelter all of his own instead of just having a shelter half like a standard low-ranking grunt like I was. His hands are kind of in there a little bit more. So a little extra crinkles. Alright, we got one. There we go. And do keep in mind, we do have regular fists here, so we can change out the hand so you can start trying to clobber Major Blood here or any other Cobra soldier that we have. Now, I don't know if, yep, his hat does come off, which is nice. Very iconic, because there were times where he had his hat off. I think in the one Vietnam kind of episode that they had, where it was with the kids. They had like 3 kids that had seen Cobra doing something wrong or whatever, and they were kind of helping the kids out. And he knew the name or phrase that the Vietnamese were saying for the kids, because essentially it's unwanted kids, because they were half American and half Vietnamese. And he had that compassion to really kind of sympathize with them and everything else. And he actually listened to them where no one else really wanted to. I think he gave his hat to one of them. But the true soldier that we always hope that we're making when we're making soldiers in the military, someone that's rough and ready but has that compassion to understand the other complexities of the world. All right, so looking at everything here, we do have his scabbard on his vest here, and this is an older classic Mali flak vest, and his knife, combat knife, goes in there. I think the Marines had more combat knives than what the Army did. I think we just had the bayonet, which I know some guys swear by it, and me, it just, I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan, but there again, it just is what it is. I always just kept the pocket knife on me. And he's got his radio. Well, he's got a loop here for something. He's got his radio. He's got something else back here on his belt. Oh, knocked his hat off. I don't know what that is offhand. Just not figuring this out. And of course, then we have his holster, which leads to, I'm going to guess that that's a 9mm going right in there. Has the slot there for the trigger assembly. Looks good. Backpack fits on there. Now, we haven't gone through all the joints yet, so let's hit those as we're kind of going through and getting them all established here. And his joints work a little bit better, but it's just on the shoe, because typically we blouse our pants over all this. Now, when I was in, we didn't blouse them down below. We bloused them up a little bit higher. I think that's more for like airborne or whatever way back when, but it's something that as a mechanized we had done in our unit. And the BDUs today, they actually have ties, so you can just tie them. So you just go through. We do have the double knee, and he's got knee pads on, so when he's running around, and unfortunately, as we get older, sometimes our knees do not handle things as well, and that's something I can relate to. Being older and having knee issues myself, the things that we take for granted when we're young. And looking at his shoulder, he does have in there, it looks like he has the double shoulder, so we can kind of roll that shoulder a little extra with his backpack and the vest on here. It does not come back as far as it maybe could, but he's got more, I think he's got more range of motion than what Major Blood does, because his vest is a little bit wider on the arms there. Just wanting to make that notice of attention to detail here. We can move our arm. He's got his sleeves all rolled up here, which is very common. And he's got the double elbow here, so we can kind of get that going around, so he can get his combat knife here. Trying to see what that rank is. Oh, he's got it on his sleeve. So we got 3 chevrons up, 1 down. Now, in the Army, that would be Sergeant First Class, I think? No, Staff Sergeant. Sorry. That'd be a Staff Sergeant. Now, I don't know what they call that in the Marine Corps. I thought he was a higher rank than that, but I thought he was a Gunnery Sergeant. Now, maybe that is a Gunnery Sergeant of whatever rank. I don't know. And for all those that are retired from the Corps and all that. You know, you can give me all those pointers online. I know I could look it up. I just figured that, hey, he's an NCO. He's a longtime NCO, and he had that heart of gold as well as that spirit of we will take them on. Nice looking figure. All in all, a very nice looking figure. Glad I got him picked up. It's going to be added to the force. Somewhere in there, we have some extra vehicles. I think what I should do is try and do a video where we have all my 1/12 scale vehicles, so we can see what we all have that we've picked up over time. Now, if I can get his hat to want to stay on, and I think I get his hips kind of going a little goofy. He's got his leg on there. Right. Pulled his leg down a little bit, so. But yeah, he looks good. He's got a nice watch on there. He's got a bracelet of some sort for some sort of identification, and I lose his his cover again. Good news is he's indoors, so he's indoors. He's not going to get in trouble for that. Hate to have him doing push-ups for not being covered when he's supposed to be. And of course, this fits into his arm pretty good as I knock the camera around. Trying not to, but unfortunately, trying to get everything in here, and of course my butt's right behind it. So, and there we are. He's got his trigger in the assembly there, or finger on the trigger assembly, so he's ready to rock and roll if Major Blood decides to do something. So, but yeah, nice looking figures, nice additions to the collection, iconic figures. I just wish I could get the backpack on there. I will eventually. I just trying to figure out exactly where that hole lines up and why I'm having issues. That's all. So, all right. Well, with that being said, thank you so very much for joining me today. I know this is coming out a little bit later. Like I said, I've been kind of glued to the TV for all the news reports that have been going on, kind of worldwide. We've got things here in the States. We got things going on overseas, and we even have some odd things out in the out in space here being presented this week. So a lot of things going on here. Hopefully everything's going good for you guys. And as always, thank you so very much for joining me. It's always wonderful having you here. Again, I hope you're doing well. And I'll see you in the next video.